statisticians in Central Asia for the future of official statistics. My name is Mikhail Gundarev, and for these 2 days, I will be the moderator of the forum. And for the opening ceremony, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Rikke Munch-Hansen, officer in charge of Statistics Division of ESCAP.
Thank you very much, Mikhail. And it is my pleasure to, on behalf of ESCAP, to welcome you all to this inaugural forum for nurturing young statisticians in Central Asia as catalysts for the future of official statistics. This forum of today and tomorrow, and also the project activities that will follow, is founded on and belongs to the transformative agenda for official statistics. And this was an agenda which many of you will know was conceptualized and advocated for already in the lead up to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And those efforts led to embedding statistics development in the 2030 Agenda, the first time this has ever happened in an international development agenda. And we have statistics development and transformation embedded in SDG number 17. The forum this week is also based on the belief in and trust in young professionals' ability, competence, and enthusiasm for changing the status quo. And therefore, the importance of involving young statisticians in transformation efforts in national statistical offices, statistical systems, and statistical services. And that's why a very big focus of this forum and also of the project more broadly is on networking. Networking among young professionals, young statisticians in this case, networking on your professional ambitions, your operations day to day in the statistical office where you work, the development opportunities you're given, the room each of you have for experimenting and developing your own knowledge and skills as you go about your daily work in pursuit, hopefully, of a very long-term career in official statistics. Now, the statistical community globally, regionally, nationally is at a watershed. As we all know, data and information, the landscape within which statistical services operate, is vastly different from when national statistical services first started operating, and where the only way to obtain data was to collect it directly from citizens and businesses through surveys. This has changed, and that's why national statistical services need to change. We need to transform our statistical business operations to match the information landscape within which we operate. And this is why another focus of this forum and the project was very naturally chosen as being on big data and its enhanced use and incorporation in statistical business operations. During today and tomorrow, I wish you all the best with pursuing both objectives. The first one on a good discussion on what a network could look like among you. How could it operate? How can each of you contribute to a network among young professional statisticians in Central Asia? What can each of you gain from such a network? And how do we all together get the best out of it? I also wish you success with the second objective, which is also related to a network. But more specifically, how could a network among you contribute to transformation of national statistical systems, including through enhanced uptake of big data? I know that Mikhail and the other organizers behind the forum has lined up a very interesting program. I hope you will all enjoy what's on the plate and contribute very actively to the discussions. Let me finally express my sincere and warm thanks to the government of the Russian Federation for generously funding this project, and to our colleagues and friends at Rostat for also partnering in a successful project implementation. So with those words, thank you very much, wishing you all the best, and back to you, Mikhail.
Thank you very much, Rika, for your valuable input. Со вторым обращением выступит заместитель руководителя Росстата.
The second opening remarks will be given by Sergei Egorenko, Deputy Head of Росстат. Sergei, the floor is yours.
Поздравляю с началом амбициозного.
Dear colleagues, I would like to congratulate you with the launch of this ambitious project, training of young statisticians in Central Asia, and the launch of this two-day inaugural forum. On behalf of Росстат, I would like to thank the organizers from ESCAP for productive cooperation as part of this project and all other joint initiatives. It's no secret that today the need for quality, updated data for decision-making is very high. And it's very important to find relevant sources of information and to analyze it. And for that, we need high-quality professionals, professionals that have wide competences, both in statistics and in related areas. In September, we held a conference in Росстат titled Road to Bern, and many of you took part in it. Let me remind you that there was a dedicated session covering the image of a future statistician. All participants, including heads of national statistics services, international experts, a representative of large business, they all concurred that supporting young professional statisticians is a top priority. Also, it's very important to enhance the attractiveness of statisticians' work for the new generation. We all know that the statistics now is undergoing great transformation and faces many challenges. It becomes more complicated, but yet more understandable. And it's no wonder that statisticians and data specialists is perhaps the most popular professions today and in the coming 10 years. In this regard, I hope that this project will not only promote to enhance talent capacity, but also it will elevate the prestige and significance of a statistician's work. Therefore, we support the establishing in Central Asia of an expert network for professional development of young statisticians. Many talented specialists from Росстат expressed their desire to take part in this project, and tomorrow they will present at this forum and share their experience with working with new data sources and some innovation methods of HR management. And we tie up this initiative with another joint project with ESCAP, such as the International Center for Statistical Expertise, known as CentroStat. As part of this project, we also have been working on establishing a professional network network of professionals that will act as mentors and methodologists in different UNESCAP projects. We believe that establishing professional networks may serve as a catalyst for the development of new approaches to pressing issues facing statistics, including using alternative data sources and big data. In conclusion, I would like to wish you every success, and Rostat will make every effort to support this significant and ambitious project. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky and Mr. Sergei Yegorenko. And before we move to the main part of the program, let me announce some housekeeping issues. This event is being recorded and it will be placed later on at the forum webpage and under the Documents tab. Please make sure your microphones are off to avoid interference. If you would like to take the floor, please use the raise hand button at the Reactions tab. If your connection is very slow, please switch off your video camera. If you have any comments or questions, you can either write in the chat box or raise your hand and ask a question. A live dialogue is preferred so we could get to know each other. Also, because simultaneous interpretation is provided, you may choose a language channel at the languages interpretation session. If you choose to speak, please speak slowly to allow for simultaneous interpretation. During today's forum, we will talk about the goals and premises of this project and also the outputs and outcomes of the project and also the events that are part of it. We have invited a number of experts to introduce to the available guides and tools and guidelines when it comes to working with data for official statistics. Unfortunately, due to the time difference, not all experts could join us real time, but they sent their video presentations. Therefore, we managed to compile an 80 minutes of exciting video material that covers AIS systems, Earth observation for official statistics, the review of the Asian Pacific guidelines of data migration, and example of using these guidelines in different countries. Most part of these materials we will hear today, and for the rest, you will be able to watch and listen to them on the official website on the Documents tab. We would be very grateful if you would ask questions or give your comments after each presentation. So if there are no objections as to the agenda, we will move on to the next part. And now the floor goes to Jan Smith, the regional advisor on official statistics of UNESCAP.
Thank you, Michal. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is my pleasure to say something about the project, which is called Nurturing Young Official Statisticians in Central Asia as a catalyst for the future of official statistics. First, a bit on the background. We have noted over the years that there are considerable statistical data gaps in the countries of North and Central Asia. For example, if it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals, there are considerable gaps in for the indicators under goals 5 to 14, 16 and 17. Also in 2016, the Asia Pacific Statistical Community decided to make as main objective of the work of ESCAP, the delivery of innovative, trusted, and timely products and services for urgently needed and evolving statistical requirements of the 2030 agenda. As part of the framework for action in this regard, the need to transform national statistical systems into learning organizations has been highlighted, together with the need to foster innovation and continuous modernization and transformation. Now, the objectives of the project are several. One is addressing the skill gaps of national statistical systems. Another objective is to enhance the ability of national statistical systems to attract and retain talent, and diversifying the traditional skills base of entities comprising the national statistical system. Another third one is building expertise on management, communication, coordination, and the use of innovative new data sources and approaches. And finally, as already mentioned by Ms. Hansen and Mr. Egorenko, is the building of national statistical capacity by creating a network for country-to-country exchange of expertise. And the building of that network we will come back to many times during these 2 days. The outcomes that we'd like to achieve under this project is the establishment of the aforementioned network for country-to-country exchange of expertise. We would also like to see highlighted the key role and the authority that official statistics play. We would like to see the delivery of technical assistance by young statisticians in topics needed by national statistical offices, and we would like to see an enhanced capacity of national statistical offices to produce most of the sustainable development indicators. As outputs, the project aims at developing training materials in Russian on communication, negotiation, and advocacy skills. We will also translate pre-existing manuals, tools, and guides on innovative new approaches to official statistics into Russian. And again, we will create that network for country-to-country exchange of expertise with a focus on new data sources and methods. Finally, the main activities of the project are, first of all, this 2-day virtual inaugural forum that you are part of right now. We will organize network meetings of the network that we plan to set up. We plan to conduct a university relay where hopefully at least some of you will visit universities to advocate for the importance of official statistics. The project will deliver technical assistance in areas that are needed by national statistical offices, and we will hopefully contribute to the development of a diversified skill basis of young official statisticians. That is it for this brief introduction. Thank you very much, and back to you, Micha.
Thank you, Jan, for introduction to the project. Наверняка такое большое количество участников форума уже говорит о заинтересованности молодых.
The large amount of participants, large number of participants already shows that young specialists are really interested in taking part in this project. When it comes to new data sources, it is a larger context that will help to bring you all together. For many of you, it's a very, very pressing issue, and here, I would like to present you our next speaker, Irina Bernal, who joined ESCAP over a year ago, and she studies big data for official statistics in the Asia-Pacific region, and also data and knowledge exchange, exchange of knowledge about big data in the region. Also, Irina has consulted other states and governments when it comes to digital transformation and data transformation. So today, Irina will talk about using alternative data sources for official statistics and UNESCAP's efforts when it comes to using alternative data sources and big data.
Greetings, everyone. Let me just share my screen with you. Can you see it?
Да, отлично. Yes, we can see it very well.
Thank you. It is a great pleasure to join you all today in the launch of this forum and platform for young statisticians in Central Asia. As this session is focused on the uses of innovative data sources in the production of official statistics, I will share with you the efforts of the global statistical community in this direction, as well as ESCAP's big data efforts and projects that you and your respective NSOs could benefit from. ESCAP has been very active in the big data space for the last couple of years. There is a lot of interest from the national statistical offices in the region to use new data sources for official statistics. And this interest was confirmed at the last Regional Committee on Statistics in 2020 that brought together heads of the national statistical offices. ESCAP is an active member of the UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics, and is also a member of several of its task teams. In addition, multiple countries in the region are also members of these task teams and contribute to their efforts. Last year, our division launched the Stats Cafe, a series of webinars dedicated to official statistics with multiple sessions devoted to big data uses for statistics. Another initiative launched at the same time is the Data Integration Community of Practice that brings together statisticians from the NSOs, but also development partners to share national data integration efforts, including of non-traditional data sources, such as data from the private sector. All of our big data events are very well attended, and most of them are registered, recorded, and published online. Lastly, we have been actively documenting our findings and providing technical assistance to the national statistical offices in the region. This is just a broad overview of the initiatives and efforts at the global and regional levels. And now I will zoom into some of these to provide you more details. Also, you will learn more specifics about some of these initiatives and manuals in the next presentations. The UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics is in charge of coordinating big data related activities and developments for official statistics at the global level. There are multiple task teams, as you can see under UN CEPT. Some of them are data source based, such as the one on Earth observation data, mobile phone data, AIS data, and scanner data. And these respective task teams have also developed several guides, such as on satellite imagery and geospatial data, and the handbook on the use of mobile phone data for official statistics that you will learn more in details in one of the presentations at this forum. Others are related to SDGs, such as Big Data and SDGs and measuring rural access, which is SDG indicator 9.1.1. Another task team is on training, competencies, and capacity development. And here I would like to mention the 6th International Conference on Big Data and the recent UN World Data Forum. Also, we have in our region SIAP, Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, that organizes trainings, and I'll provide more information on SIAP later. Another task team is on privacy preserving techniques that has developed a handbook on privacy preservation. And lastly, the most recent task team is on acquisition of private sector data, a very big issue and a hot topic for many countries that are currently exploring ways of accessing and collaborating with the private sector for their big data. Stats Cafe is the initiative, as I mentioned, we launched last year. And over 2 years, we've had almost 50 sessions. They're all recorded, and presentations are available on the Stats Cafe webpage. And in red, I have highlighted some of this year's sessions that are dedicated to big data. You can consult them, listen to recordings. They're all in English on the Stats Cafe webpage. Data integration community of practice brings statisticians from the NSOs and development partners and some representatives of the private sector to share national data integration efforts. And these efforts include uses of non-traditional data sources. These sessions are more technical in nature than Stats Cafes. They're also recorded, but only available to members of this DCOP platform. And as you can see, we have a separate session dedicated to big data resources. So if any of you is interested in joining this platform, which is not only focused on big data integration, big data is just part of it, please let us know and my colleagues will include you on this platform. As for the last 1.5 years, our division has been researching the specific use cases of new and alternative sources of data for official statistics. We have noticed that many NSOs across our region, but also across the globe, face many challenges in integrating these alternative sources of data in the production of the official statistics. Here, I will highlight the most important ones. Many NSOs, for example, note limitations in the current legal frameworks that prevent them from using alternative data sources to produce official statistics. Data privacy and personal data protection is of paramount importance when considering big data use, particularly from the private sector. And there have been cases in our region and beyond our region where some governments and NSOs did not pursue the use of big data, particular big data source they had experimented with due to the negative citizen perception of the data integration or use. And this refers to the use of both administrative and private sector data. Data access is also a challenge, especially the negotiation with the private sector and finding a win-win data access model. But getting long-term data access as opposed to just a one-off experiment brings additional complexity. Technological infrastructure and investments that it requires may also be an impediment, especially for governments and NSOs with limited resources. Same applies to the need to build internal capacity within organizations, and this is also part of why you're joining this forum today. Last but not least, there are challenges, including technical, that differ from data source to data source, but these would mean that NSOs already have access to those data sources to experience these specific and technical challenges. As I have mentioned, we've conducted the research on country experiences of using different data sources for official statistics, and we have documented these experiences, mostly in our stats briefs that you can access through the links indicated here. We have explored the uses of different data sources, such as mobile phone data, scanner data, online data sources, data from electricity bills, bank transactions across and of course geospatial data across different types of statistics, such as environment statistics, population and social statistics, and economic statistics. But in addition, we have also explored the uses of non-traditional data for monitoring the SDG indicators. In addition to this research, we have drafted several of blog posts related to big data uses. And lastly, we have just recently released the report of the expert group meeting on big data for official statistics that took place almost 2 months ago, and that focused on two issues very important to our region, which is big data governance and partnership.
I'm sorry, Kai, are we experiencing some troubles here with the connection?
Yes, I think Irina is disconnected.
I think everybody was disconnected, probably a bug of a program.
I don't know, because on the participants list, still we are having 51 participants.
Okay, I'll message to Irina. Уважаемые коллеги, я прошу прощения, у нас небольшие технические...
Dear colleagues, I apologize. We are experiencing a technical glitch. We're trying to get Irina back, solve this technical issue, and as soon as we're able to do that, Irina will continue with her presentation.
Shall we wait for Irina for a few more minutes? If we cannot get her, we should move the next presentation.
Yeah, sure. For some reason, she is not responding to the message I sent.
She said that she's coming back.
Oh, she replied to you, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Apologies for this technical problem.
Да, коллеги, Ирина вернется сейчас с
Yes,
презентацией.
colleagues, Irina is going to be back with her presentation. Just to give it another minute, please. Thank you.
I am back. I apologize for that. May I know which slide you lost me on?
Can
Let
you
me
launch?
just share.
Can you share the screen?
Yes, apologies.
I think it was the next one.
That's
And
Cafe,
next one.
data integration, main challenges.
Yes. Yeah, we stopped on this one.
Where exactly?
One-
Shall I start the
one
entire
more, I
slide from
think.
the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
This one you also did already,
This one?
the one before.
Were we done with this one or no?
Yeah, you were telling about the geospatial information.
Yes, so what I was saying is that we've conducted research on the uses of various data sources for official statistics in countries in the region. And we have documented them for different types of statistics, environmental, population and social and economic statistics. And we have also looked at the uses of new and non-traditional data sources for the SDGs. You can find links to these stats briefs here. And also we have a few blog posts drafted on the topic of big data. And lastly, we have recently published the report of the expert group meeting on big data for official statistics that took place almost 2 months ago and focused on 2 topics of high importance for our region, which is data governance and big data partnership models. I encourage you to explore this report to understand what the discussions focused on, but also some of the proposed next steps for taking the big data work in the region forward. Next, ESCAP provides technical assistance, tools, and trainings for countries in the region. We provide a lot of geospatial support to countries, and we also have developed several manuals and tools, which will be presented by my colleague in the next presentation. SIAP, the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, also has several courses on big data, and one upcoming course on e-learning on machine learning for official statistics and SDG indicators that will take place in November through December. But I also encourage you to check out their other trainings for big data, but also for other types of statistics that they regularly conduct for statisticians in our region. And another project that I would like to share with you about is our flagship project, the National SDG Tracker, that was initially developed for countries in our region, but the interest is growing from other regions, and we will extend it. This SDG tracker allows countries to access their data for SDG indicators from the global database, to run calculations, add and disaggregate indicators, and set national targets, all through a nice visualization through this dashboard. And we're glad to have to support one country in Central Asia with the development of this national SDG tracker. This is all from me. I thank you for your attention. Apologize for being disconnected, and wish you all a very fruitful networking throughout this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina, very much for providing such a clear introduction to and extensive overview of ESCAP initiatives related to big data, global developments for alternative sources, and review of stats brief publications. Уважаемые коллеги, пожалуйста, вам слово. Какие у вас есть комментарии или вопросы к презентации?
Colleagues, the floor is yours. Do you have any questions, and would you like to comment perhaps on the presentation that you just heard? Then perhaps I could address my colleagues from Rostat. If I recall, you were quite interested in stat briefs. Perhaps you could comment on that.
Mihail, if I may add here, our work doesn't stop here in terms of documenting country experiences. So as we move on, countries are experimenting, and one of our objectives is to continuously document these efforts and to contribute to continuous sharing of knowledge and expertise across countries in our region on big data related issues. So if there are countries that are actively experimenting and whose case studies we haven't documented yet, who we haven't invited to Stats Cafe or to technical discussions at the data integration community of practice, please reach out to us to help us document them and to share your experience with the wider network. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina, for your comment. И у нас есть желающие высказаться от Казахстана.
Kazakhstan is asking for the floor. Gulnur, you have the floor, please. Good afternoon. My name is Gulnur. So if I understand, this is information about the kinds of data that is currently already being used, and the links
about the work that has already been done using the experience of various countries. Is my understanding, is this right?
What my presentation aims to do was to provide you a big overview at the big data initiatives at the global level, but also our efforts at the regional level, what we have documented, where you can find all that information, how you can get involved and reach out to us either with questions or to share your particular experience with big data sources. Of course, we could not document all the experiences existing in the region, but this is why we would like to invite all the interested countries, especially those with experience with big data, to let us know about their efforts so that we can help them share them, the initiatives, the learnings with the broader network of countries in our region. And in your case, it would be Central Asia. Thank you.
Ясно, спасибо большое. Просто мне вот, например, очень интересно.
Understood. Thank you very much. I have to say that I'm particularly interested in the use of mobile data. In our statistical data collection, we don't use big data. We haven't thus far, but we plan to do so to other industries next year. But this year, I would like to organize a meeting with mobile operators. So this is the area that is of particular interest to me. I would like to be prepared for the meeting, like to know which way to tackle it. So I'm trying to learn more about it. So thank you very much. And I hope there will be more detailed information later on about specific topics. And perhaps someone from other countries could share their experience. I know that in Russia, this has already been done using megaphone data. So I'd be quite interested in learning from other countries about what is being done in that area. Thank you very much.
I would just briefly like to add that indeed mobile phone data is stirring a lot of interest, not just in our region, but across multiple NSOs in the world. We have successful and not so successful experiences of collaborating with mobile network operators. And what you will find in our stats briefs and several of the stats cafes is the different models of approaching mobile network operators. In some countries, like in Indonesia, the National Statistical Office approached the mobile network operator directly for a data partnership. In the case of Georgia, the NSO approached the national regulator who access data. And Estonia, through their legislation, could access data from any private company directly. So there are different models of accessing the data, which highly depends on the national legislation. So I encourage you to refer to our stats briefs. And if you have any questions and if we could support you in approaching your national mobile operators, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.
Большое спасибо за комментарии и пояснения.
Thank you very much for the comment, and thank you very much for the answer. Our colleagues from Russia have also shared information saying that it would be quite interesting to have the brief on the use of mobile data to have it translated into Russian. Are there any other questions? Are there any comments on the presentation that we just heard? If there are no questions or no comments, let us move on to the next speaker and let us look at specific tools and manuals. One of 7 videos was prepared by Sarah Regan, who works on the National Data Science Campus in the UK. Her experience working in the National Statistics Office is over 20 years, and over the last 3 years, she's been the manager for international programs. And she pays great attention to capacity building in data science and providing assistance to other countries' national statistics. She's also a member of the UN group on capacity building and training. In her presentation, she will describe various tools that were designed in order to provide assistance to various groups. And I'm going to cue in her video, and we will be able to listen to her presentation.
I'm Regan from the UK Data Science Campus, and I'm a member of the UN Task Team on Training, Competencies and Capacity Development. During this talk, we're going to take a look at some of the products and tools that the task team
Я прошу прощения, коллеги, видимо, звук пропал. Давайте.
My apologies, colleagues. Sound seems to have disappeared. Let's try again.
We're going to start by looking at our vision, and then we'll take a look at our competency framework that we've developed, the maturity matrix, the big data training curriculum, which is still in development, and the personalized learning system, which is also still in development. Let's look at our vision. The task team aims to provide frameworks and training for consistency in global big data capability building. We aim to provide products that empower the NSO to understand their knowledge gaps and the individual to take control of their own learning development. Let's take a quick look at the first product that our task team developed, the UN Big Data Competency Framework. It's made up of core competencies and some generic competencies, but the core competencies form the main part of the competency framework. We have some themes within the core competencies: ethics and privacy, mathematics, data management, statistics, programming, machine learning, and data visualization. And here are the generic skills or soft skills that we have listed in the competency framework: agile project management, adaptability, business acumen, communication, critical thinking, curiosity, product understanding, storytelling, and being a team player. Now, these sound important, but they aren't the main focus of the framework, and that's generally because these softer skills tend to be covered very well by the NSO already, by other frameworks that are in existence. We wanted to focus more on the data science capability aspects. Let's take a more detailed look at one of the sections of the Big Data Competency Framework. The screenshot on the right shows the data management theme, and you can see it's quite detailed. It sets out the competency, what the detail of that is, some proficiency levels, what you expect, a foundation, intermediate, and advanced level in this area of data management, and also lists some of the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that you'd expect to see. So it's quite detailed, and it can be used to assess the knowledge gaps in the NSO. It can be used to recruit staff. It can be used to train staff in certain areas. But it provides general guidance. Just so you're aware, this framework is being used. It's being used within Statistics Poland currently to look at big data employee profiles for recruitment and for building skills. And also within the ONS, we've done the same thing as we've looked at some of the employee details and characteristics that we're looking for. It should be noted that the competency framework is not exhaustive. There will be gaps, and we stress it should be used as a guide. We point out that not every data specialist within the NSO needs to possess all of the skills that are listed in the framework. Different NSOs are running different projects that require different skills at different times. So you take and pick which of these skills areas you think you need and need to develop. Also, there are different types of data specialists. For example, you get data analysts, you get data engineers, data scientists, etc., and they all require different skills and knowledge. And here's a link to the UN Big Data Competency Framework. Next, let's take a look at the UN Big Data Maturity Matrix. Just to stress, it is already available in a PDF format on the UN website, and I've included a link here. It is in the process of being moved online into a more interactive tool for NSOs to use. It's an NSO level tool. It's a self-assessment tool that measures organizational maturity in terms of big data. It can be used to help the NSO identify its strengths and weaknesses, and can also be used to help produce a development plan or roadmap that will take the NSO on its journey to improve its big data maturity. The maturity matrix is set against 4 big data dimensions: legal frameworks, IT infrastructure, human resources, and the applications or projects that are being run at the NSO. There are 3 steps to self-assessment, very straightforward. First step is you set your goal or target of where you want the NSO to be in terms of big data. Secondly, you answer some questions that establish where the NSO currently is at. And thirdly, you receive some results about your gap. I wanted to show you what this is starting to look like as we convert this into an online product. You can see the screen here. It's a screenshot of how it's starting to look. It will be on the UN website very soon. And you can see step 1 here is set your goals. Step 2 is take the assessment. You then get the results. You get a readout based on the goal you set and how you answered the questions. So here is a made-up result, legal and policy framework. You can see the goal was set at practitioner level, but based on how questions were answered, the bar is further back in the middle of pre-foundation to the foundation stage. So there is a gap. The other 2, the IT infrastructure and human resources, you can see the goal has been achieved. There will be an option to submit these results directly to the UN. The UN has a picture of how NSOs are doing on their big data journeys. And a future step for this work is to look at how we link up the results and provide recommendations so that the NSO has something that they can do to fill the gap that has been identified by this process. And here's the link to the PDF version of the UN Big Data Maturity Matrix held on the UN website. Okay, next, let's take a look at the UN Big Data training curriculum that is currently being put in place. This is work in progress. The task team on training that I'm a member of is currently working with 4 other big data task teams: shipping data, Earth observation data, scanner data, and mobile phone data. We're working with them all to identify the knowledge and skills and different audiences for training by topic. From all of the information gathered, we're then converting that into an associated training curriculum. So we're looking at all of the information we have from those 4 big data task teams, and we are drawing it all together into one curriculum. It's busy. As you can see, it's quite detailed. Filling this with training courses will not be quick. But we're looking at this curriculum to make sure that no one is left behind, that there is training for different proficiency levels, foundation, intermediate, and advanced. Remember, those would be proficiency levels we identified in the competency framework. So all of this needs to align. We're looking at training for different audiences at the NSO. What about the project managers? What about senior leaders? What about statisticians? We want to make sure we have covered off core areas of knowledge in this curriculum. It also needs to focus for the experts on big data specifics. Mentioned, it needs to link back to the competency framework wherever possible. And more importantly, this training needs to be online and available to all. We're going through a process of identifying what is already available that can fit into this curriculum, and then where are the gaps. And the UN is in the process of developing a learning management system. It wants to hold all training courses in one place, needs to be searchable by different criteria. They also wish to develop a personalized learning pathway. This is something we picked up from the Earth observation task team, a fantastic idea that would provide individuals at the NSO with an online system that allows you to say what your current knowledge is, says where you want to be, and then courses are recommended to you to help you fill your gap. And here is a very rough image of what the personalized self-learning system might look like as we're developing it. You might specify your role, and you might list where you are now on a scale of 1 to 5, maybe. Say where you are in Python, in R, etc. And then where do you want to be, and you set your goal. And then courses are automatically recommended to you to help you reach your goal. And here, as we draw to a close, are all of the links that I've mentioned. Also, the second bullet is a link to the task team on training competencies and capacity development, and that's where you can find most of these tools. The competence framework link and the maturity matrix link. Matrix link is there also. And all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, my email address was on the front slide of this deck. Please get in touch. Take care all.
Благодарим Сири за видеообращение.
We thank Sari for her video address. If you have any comments, I can now give you the floor. If there are no comments, we may proceed. Recently, the ESCAP has developed a number of tools that may be able to assist the national statistic offices when it comes to mapping and land cover statistics. The main goal of establishing these tools was methodological assistance to all parties interested in working with these data. And we have a speaker. His name is Alat Munsuru. He is an expert on GIS in ESCAP Statistics Division. Among his areas of interest is distance sounding and using QGIS for monitoring the change of land cover, ocean plates, to name a few. Alat, thank
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Hello everyone, I'm Ahlag. In this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate some of the work ESCAP had been doing in ESCAP statistics. In this, I have developed some automation tools and guides for NSOs to generate their own land accounting by using these guides, by using QGIS and R, which is an open source platform. In this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate the guide which I have developed and a country example where the guides had been tested and the country Fiji Bureau of Statistics had been able to compile their own land accounting by using our support and the guides. And the current advancement of the tool, we have developed an R-Shiny application where the countries can upload their data and produce their own statistical information systems. They can either host in their own servers or open source tools. Even the R-Shiny Connect will provide service. We're planning to produce some new guides to help support the countries on that. And the country examples, the tests of the tool we have conducted on various countries, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and all Central Asian countries, almost many Central Asian countries. I have done a test on that before. By the end of this tool, the countries will be able to see the land transition matrix and the land cover change maps. It's an automation tool from year to year, 1995 to 2015, how the land is varying on in this slide. You can see by the end of any user, by the end of the day, they can produce the complete statistical reports. The functionality of the tool is classified into three types. First, the data collection and the data pre-processing and cleaning, and the automatically generating the maps and statistics tables like land transition matrix and the percentage of land cover change table. By the end of the day, they can, by implementing of this tool, they can get this. This is the simulation of work, how it goes. First, the user need to download the QGIS and R. Later on, they need to install some semi-automatic plugins and use pre-processing is being done in QGIS. Then the pre-processed data, the clip data, the clipping also will be automated. It's just one click. They can mask all the 100 n number of images for their data what they are using. In this study, I have used ESA land cover data, and it helps to reclassify or convert into SIA land cover classes. But if the country has their own data set, the simulation of the loop will work for them also. Once we have run the script, this is the script with the different libraries. It's one function, and it takes around, based on the geography of the region, and it may vary on the time scale, but it takes if the Ganga Brahmaputra river basin is one of the largest river basin in the Asia Pacific region. They can see the temporal changes of land cover maps from 1995 to 2015. All the years with the names and the statistics they can compile with by using this tool. Totally automated. And following by this, they can see the transition matrix from year to year, how the land is varying on from one form to other, like artificial surface herbaceous crops, herbaceous to wood, or multiple layer crops. How this transformation is going, they can see clearly in this section. This is the percentage change table from one form to other, how the percentages is varying on, they can observe by this from first year to second year for Ganga Brahmaputra river basin. This is an automation, how it functions. This is the land transition matrix. From year 2015 on the top, and on the left we can see the statistics on the year 1995. And the IDs, it represents the class names. Its CI is around 14 classes with no data on all. The first year to second year, how it is varying, we can see. This is the total land cover area of artificial surface first year, sorry, herbaceous crops first year, and how it is varying on. These numbers represents the from 1990, the area of is around 30 square kilometers change around, and it was increased. There is some growth on the some area and the reduction of the areas. These statistics helps to understand the countries to build back better operations on land accounting. And apart from this, the maps, it's the geography located in the northeast part of India, where the rapid urbanization is varying on a lot. This is the Fiji Bureau of Statistics country experience. May I please know whether the audio is able to appear or not of this country's recording?
Ala, do you hear yourself the sound?
Yes. You're not able to get the sound?
No, just a second. Let me play this video, okay? And then you will proceed with your presentation.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Firstly, I just wanted to say thank you very much for all the materials and guidance, the time and effort that the team has taken up to help us with this compilation. Just on behalf of the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, I'd just like to convey our deepest gratitude to the ESCAP team, Sohail, Alahad, Linda, and Ricky, and all those who were instrumental in putting this putting the materials together. So initially, I had no idea about GIS and how to use it, and but this has been a learning process for me. And so for anyone there who is not expert in GIS, I think this this method that you have come up with is pretty simple and fairly I wouldn't say fairly easy to understand for someone who's not a GIS expert. So one of the main reasons why we wanted to compile a land cover account was because it was one of the key thematic areas that was addressed in our green growth framework, and that was a sustainable island and ocean resource. So apart from that, we also thought it would be a good foundation to other importancia accounts like land use, experimental ecosystems, agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, and then eventually oceans. But like everything, we had to start out trying to find the data, the appropriate data. And so we had to approach a lot of the data custodians, and most of them didn't have like time series data that we wanted to use. So the method that Ala had suggested and Sohail suggested was to use the ESA global data. And so we used that, and as well as QGIS, and that's helped us a lot to visualize and also quantify the changes in the different land cover classifications for over the period of 11 years that they had mentioned, 2005 to 2015. And we hope that it in future, as more data is available to us, more updated data is available, to us from our data students that we'll be able to continue to use this as well. One of the features that I really liked was how QGIS allows you to generate reports in the CSV format, and then I thought was quite neat, and then it allows you to arrange and analyze the data whichever way you prefer. So yeah, and we were all doing this virtually, so I thought that was quite an experience as well. Usually we will go and visit the consultant, or the consultant will come and visit us, but yeah, with this crisis, this was a really great way to get the work done. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Alad, you may proceed.
Okay. Apart from the guides, current progress of our work is to generate countries to provide an information system, how the land is varying on and the crop types. And apart from that, how the increasing the population is influencing on the land cover change. One other thing is that apart from the land change, in each pixel or each location, how the population is impacting on that, so that they can see the visually compare and see where exactly the growth is varying on. These speedometers and scorecards represents the changes of overall dashboard. By the end of the day, they can get a land cover change maps. This is for Bangkok, a city scale, and if they click on that particular location, geography, any particular pixel, they can see how the population is varied from 2000 to 2020 in that particular pixel. This level of detailed information they can get and install for free of cost. That's the further progress of the study. And the heat maps, here the heat maps are the markers which represents from one farm to other, from herbaceous to crops to artificial. If they're 1990, if the land type is herbaceous crops or paddy or whatever the crop type the countries are having, how it is converted, where exactly in the country it is converted to urbanization. These, the exact center point of the pixel location they can get, and the heat map shows the intensity where exactly this change is happening. That information will helps for the capacity development activities and land cover change governance and 5 years policy revisions. It may support a strong support for the country. This is the transition matrix and the percentage of change of the land cover tables within the information system they can see. This is the tool we are working on. If they need to upload their land cover raster images, the first year land cover image, the second year land cover image, and land cover color with the attribute names, and the pixel size or the resolution of the image they need to upload, and the population data. Right now I have kept the world population. We can add other socio-economic or attributes like HDA or MPI data sets, human development index lenses also available. We are checking on that. Which if they upload the data and click on the dashboard, they can see and download the result, download the information, and again the guide will show how they can deploy in their server or the open source platforms. I need to include a download option here. Right now I hadn't done that. This is the herbaceous crops or mangroves. The speedometer shows how it is varying on multiple layer crops in first year to second year percentages and percentage of land cover change. Is the first year and how the artificial surface area increased, and the markers and the heat maps from one form to other, how it is transformed exactly, and the statistics. I'm going to give you a live demo of what they can get. by using by the end of the day. The dashboard, it may take some time to load. When the user can download this link directly, the land cover change, the speedometers and the scorecards, and the population raster images in each locations, how they can click and deploy this. This dashboard I have deployed by using rShiny Connect or rShiny IO. Once the user uploads their data, they need to download it. It will take around a couple of minutes, and they can get this artificial surface area first year and herbaceous crops, how the percentages and the square kilometers, how it is rapidly varied from year to year, they can see, and population data sets from first year to second year, and the percentage of square kilometers, everything they can get. Year 2000 and 2020, how the land cover is changed. And we can see the center of Bangkok in 2020, it's 115 people in that location. In 2000, it is around 66 population. Number of people, it's 100 square kilometers, 100 square kilometer, 100 meter resolution, sorry. And grasslands to artificial surface locations. And if we change to herbaceous crops to artificial, the intensity in the northeast part of the Bangkok is more. Similarly, they can see exact pinpoint markers, which helps the countries to understand where exactly, and they can download it, and they can see the distance from the roads and rivers or seas, where exactly and how many square meters, miles the transformation is varying on. This helps to understand for the policies to revise exactly. This is the transformation matrix and the percentage of land transition table, and the conversion of table grasslands to artificial and herbaceous crops to artificial. This total conversions from one form to other, how it is varied. This information system they can keep into their servers. Apart from that, there is other tool which helps to monitor the time series. It's a cross-section intervals we have seen beginning. This will be the time series. If you have a large scale of data sets, around 20 or 30 images they can upload all the raster images of land cover. And land cover years and land cover colors and the pixel size of the image. And once they click on the dashboard, they can see the temporal variance of land cover change from year to year, and the trends from 1995 to 2015. Each year, annual variance of land cover change they can see, and the trends, artificial surface variance trends, and the percentages changes they can monitor closely. This swiper shows the in each year to year how if the swipe how the percentage or the total areas is varying, they can see. And the transition matrix from 1990 to 93 year to year, if the disaster occurs or any calamity happened on the land, the transition will be varied in a different way. So this annual variance will helps to improve the capacity in that manner. And the balance sheets and which shows the totals, square kilometers and the percentage, and the rate of change, annual rate of change from year to year, how the percentage is varying on. And the end of the thing, they can integrate the data sets. If the artificial surface area trend is increasing, how it's impacting on the herbaceous or the wood crops or the paddy or corn or other land cover types. That helps to understand the influence of artificial surface on the other areas. These are the guides earlier, which shows how to generate land cover change maps. And automation tool, which helps to automate the transmission matrix and the maps, and the hotspots, which shows intensity of land cover change, urban land cover change, where exactly the transformation is more. These are some of the country examples we have tested earlier. This is the Kazakhstan from 2003 to 2015, how it is varied, and the capital city, where exactly from the dynamics, how it is varied from year to year. Is Uzbekistan. From we can see the water bodies, there is a great difference from 1995 to 2015, and the rapid urbanization is high in the capital region and southern part of the Uzbekistan. The from 1995 to 2015, how it is varied in the capital region, and apart from that, the hotspot shows the intensity where exactly the pixels or the land transformation is more. The heat map shows this. This was done by using a clustering analysis. The heat map. This is the another country example. The Turkmenistan from 1995 to 2015. It's a 300-meter resolution, so we can see on the southern part of the country that urbanization is more had a great change from year to year, from 20 years in time span. This is the small geography of the capital region. From we can see the great difference from the how the transformation of the land is happened. Tajikistan from 1995 to 2015. The transformation locations we can see from how this land is varied, and northwest part of the locations where the transformation of the artificial surface is high, and the central part is also high. This visually it can help, but statistically the land transformation matrix they can get from the guide. This is the capital city, how it is varying on based on the increase in the population or other demographic, other socio-economic and demographic factors influence on these changes. Armizan, this is the two cross-section intervals. There is a lot of variance in the urbanization, and from the center part of the country, we can observe more closely on the city scale. And increasing of these factors, increasing the urbanization strongly impacting on the mangroves and the coastal ecosystem services also. For regarding that, we have trying to develop some other guides to monitor closely on the ecosystem services. Amazon is in the southwest part of the and the central part of the geography is been strongly varying according to my observation, and we can see a close look in the city scale. This is the coastal city, as we discussed. So it's increasing of these impacting on the marine ecosystem services. That hotspot helps to understand where exactly the locations are being varying on. This is the Kazakhstan, the center part, and is varying on from 1995 to 2015, and some parts on the down south. This is the city on the capital city in the Kazakhstan, and it's a great rapid change. Is the overall Central Asian countries, how the transformation is varying on from 2005 to 2015. There are various locations, so it's difficult to exactly zoom in and all. But information system, our information system as R-Shiny helps to understand even more detail in this scale also. That's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Alad, for such an interesting presentation and giving exciting insights on the GIS tools that have been developed and are available now for everyone to use. Уважаемые коллеги, вам слово. Наверняка у вас есть вопросы. Возможно, вы планировали использовать...
Colleagues, the floor is yours. Perhaps you were planning on using similar tools in your work. It would be quite interesting to hear from you as to what you would like to do in terms of using such instruments or have been doing.
Во вкладке реакции есть кнопочка «Поднять руку».
You can raise your hand. You just need to go down on the computer screen and click on the reaction tab. Good afternoon. I have a question. Please go ahead. I'd like to share experience. This year we went through training with the World Bank on how to mapping poverty levels. So it was very interesting for me to hear a presentation. We would like to continue working in that area, and we plan to come up with a product, to come up with specific numbers. So we're quite interested also in obtaining additional training in that area, and perhaps also to have experience with other countries. Thank you very much, Anastasia. Thank you for your comment. Colleagues, please raise your hands so that we could give you the floor. In order for us to give you the floor, you need to raise the hand in the reactions icon on the bottom of the screen. If there are no more questions at the moment, then we will move on to the next presentation, which will conclude the first part of our meeting. And this is for the experts in communication specialists, experts who are involved in data integration for official statistics. And there are specific examples from the Asia Pacific region. Afsana Yazdani, who represents the Department of Statistics, Population and National Statistics in at ESCAP. She heads the regional initiative on data integration. She started working at ESCAP in 2018. Prior to that, for over 20 years, she worked in the Statistical Agency of Iran. Her experience is extensive, and her area of special interest is population surveys, census, and registries. I will cue in her presentation now.
Hello everyone, my name is Afsana Yazdani. I'm a statistician at ESCAP Statistics Division. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to briefly showcase Asia Pacific initiatives on data integration for official statistics. Thanks to organizers for inviting me, and my sincere apologies for not being able to attend the meeting. I hope this pre-recorded presentation be beneficial to you. This is the outline of my presentation. After a short introduction, I will briefly present some of the ESCAP initiatives for promoting data integration in Asia and the Pacific. Before going into data integration, let me give you some background information about ESCAP and its work on statistics. ESCAP is one of 5 regional commissions of the United Nations that fosters cooperation among its 53 member states and 9 associate members in order to find solutions to sustainable development challenges. The ESCAP region is home to 2/3 of the world's population. ESCAP supports inclusive, resilient, and sustainable development in the region through consensus building, knowledge production, providing technical assistance, and capacity building services. The ESCAP Statistics Sub-Program under auspices of the Committee on Statistics supports national statistical systems in Asia and the Pacific to improve the availability, accessibility, and use of quality data and official statistics in support of sustainable development. Now about the work on data integration. As per the decision by the Committee on Statistics in its sixth session in October 2018, a community of practice for data integration was established. We call it ESCAP. It has operated as a virtual platform for collaboration, sharing knowledge and experience, and learning from each other. ESCAP enabled cost-effective and less formal get-togethers, allowed further participation and involvement of experts, and turned to be quite timely with the COVID-19 pandemic limiting face-to-face meetings. ESCAP is a private environment developed on the Confluence platform. Any official statistician interested in data integration can register and become a member in case of eligibility. As of today, ESCAP has over 300 members from over 40 countries from Asia Pacific and beyond, 36 members from CIS countries. Members are representatives from national statistical systems, regional and international agencies, academics, and institutions. ESCAP provides a forum for the exchange of knowledge and experience on integrating different data sources such as surveys, censuses, administrative data, big data, and geospatial information. To do so, ESCAP uses a combination of an online platform and regular virtual meetings. The online platform includes various features that have facilitated online collaboration and enabled the exchange of knowledge and experience, sharing of information about relevant events, the development of a regional guideline, and the design of and conduct of a regional survey. The ESCAP is also a rich repository of resources and country examples, and its pages have received over 13,000 views. Regular virtual meetings have also provided a friendly environment for discussion and sharing relevant knowledge and experience. So far, 33 virtual meetings have been organized where over 50 country or agency experience were shared and discussed. If you are interested in joining the ESCAP, please use the link or the QR code available on this slide. Fill out the form that you can see on the left and register. We will review your form and get back to you as soon as possible with your account details. Apart from what we mentioned, the key outcome of the ESCAP is the guidelines. Through the ESCAP platform, members tailored the UNECE data integration guide for the region and developed Asia-Pacific guidelines to data integration for official statistics. The guidelines were also influenced by the insights of participants of 2 regional workshops on data integration, as well as data integration capacity assessment survey results. You could use the link and QR code here to access the guidelines. The guidelines offer practical advice and information to assist statistical organizations in their data integration efforts and target managers, statisticians, ICT professionals, and other staff involved, and include several country examples, mainly from the Asia-Pacific region, and many links to other valuable resources. Here you can see the outline of the guidelines. Now let us take a quick look at what each chapter covers. Introduction touches upon the data integration challenges, issues, and opportunities. The second chapter defines data integration and illustrates its extent through examples. The third chapter is about planning for data integration, where we can learn about the key steps for a data integration project. This chapter also looks into the issues related to access to data, explores the partnerships and how they might be beneficial, and discusses the skills required for data integration projects. Chapter 4 discusses the data consideration and interoperability of data, the concepts and the role of identifiers. It addresses the privacy and confidentiality issues and solutions. The following chapter discusses quality and introduces some of the available practical recommendations for enhancing quality of data in data integration projects. Chapter 6 is about the methods and tools. It briefly discusses record linkage, statistical matching, introduces some of the software tools available, and explores methodological considerations. Chapter 7 is on communicating integrated data. It introduces the key audience, describes how communicating integrated data is different, and provides examples. Chapter 8 addresses integration of different data sources. It begins with a discussion of how to integrate traditional data sources such as surveys, censuses, and administrative data. Then it will discuss the integration of new sources of data, including geospatial information and big data. Also touches upon the small area estimation. It reviews requirements and challenges for integrating each data source as well as possible solutions and provides examples. In short, the guidelines reviews requirements and challenges of integrating data for producing official statistics, provides solutions, and presents relevant examples from the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. In addition to what's mentioned so far, the ESCAP Statistics Division has developed many knowledge products, including guidelines, manuals, stat scripts, working papers, and blogs. And the Asia-Pacific StatCafe series, which are virtual events happening every week, provide an opportunity to share experience on topics of interest of official statisticians. Let me encourage you to visit our knowledge products page and attend our StatCafe sessions. The QR codes are available on this slide. To conclude, in Asia Pacific, efforts are being made to improve data integration. The Asia Pacific Guidelines to Data Integration for Official Statistics is a helpful resource that offers practical advice and provides various country examples and several links to other relevant, useful resources. The DCAP has successfully promoted online collaboration and the exchange of knowledge and experience in data integration. Please feel free to join us. I invite you also to visit the ESCAP Statistics Division's Knowledge Products webpage and to visit our StatCafe series webpage and join our future StatCafe sessions. The links are all available on this slide. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Your questions and comments are welcome. Thank you.
Большое спасибо, Асане, за интересное выступление.
Thank you very much, Asana, for this very interesting presentation. Do you have any questions or comments? If you'd like to add something, please raise your hand so that we could see that you're asking for the floor.
Так, хорошо. Я думаю, нам тогда стоит перейти к следующему моменту. Я еще раз благодарю всех спикеров за...
Well, in that case, I'd like to thank all speakers for their contribution to this forum. I'd like to thank the participants for their participation. And I'd like to mention that all presentations, including video addresses, will be placed on the website of UN ESCAP on our forum's dedicated webpage.
Я надеюсь, вам сейчас видно информация, которую мы хотели до вас еще донести.
And I hope you can also see this information that we'd like to present to you. The statistical department has planned a number of workshops on big data in order to raise awareness of big data, and closer to the date, you will see these training events, and you can check the link that is on the screen to be able to see when these events actually planned.
Сейчас мы тогда уйдем на 15-минутный перерыв после...
And allow me to now
с момента обсуждения экспертной сети. Большое всем спасибо.
Stop for about 15 minutes. We'll have a coffee break for 15 minutes, and then we will move on to the work of the discussion about the work of the expert network group. Thank you.
Welcome back to the second part of this session, where we will discuss future scenarios for the expert network. I think all of you will agree that today it's hard to overestimate the role of expert associations. Even the guides and guidelines, including those mentioned in the concept notes and also mentioned in the video presentations, all of them are a result of collective work. And to recap what Ian Smith has said, the expert network is the beginning of it all. First of all, it's a communication platform where experts may exchange experience on their professional activities. And one of its benefits is pulling together of resources and also the collective mind that allows to make collective decisions. And participants need to be motivated, open-minded, and active and actively involved in it. The structure of it may be similar to so-called task groups or task teams that are quite popular with in the world statistic communities. So perhaps we can somehow create similar mechanisms of interaction and exchange of experience. Basically, we will be establishing a virtual bridge that will put together young experts that work with new data sources. Many of you perhaps face similar issues without any access to the experience that your colleagues may already have, or the methodologies that are out there. And we would like to discuss your vision of this community and possible scenarios of its development. And we would like our discussion to be more informal, because our meeting is an opportunity to go beyond the frames that we usually work at and think out of the box. And for a start, I would like to now address Jan.
Пожалуйста, зайдите.
First of all, I encourage you to open your browsers on your phones or on your computers. Let me show you the slide, and you will see what you need to do. Basically, you'll need to go onto this website, mentimeter.com, and put in a code, which you can see at the top of your screen.
Jan, should I do it myself? Прошу прощения, сейчас мы покажем вам слайд.
My apologies. Let me show you this slide. There we go. So you need to go to menti.com website and input the 8-digit code. You will see a page that will ask you to input any 3 words, being your first association as to the vision of the expert network. How do you see it? What is the first word, the first 3 words that come to your mind? And we will see in real time, like a mind map, a cloud, for example, they will start popping up. So your choices and the words that your colleagues thought of, they will come up like that. So let's put a timer, because all of you, maybe now not all of you have a chance to do that. Maybe some of you need to log in from your phone and you need to find the phone first. I'll give you some time. A word of warning, do not close this page. If you're using it on another device or any device, please keep it, because we will go back to this tool. And as I can see, so far, not all of the participants have chosen, because you see, not all of the terms are of the same size. Maybe we don't have many matches. I'll give you another minute. Let's wait for another minute. It's quite obvious now that quite a lot of matches in words like experience or exchange of experience. At least we are finding some commonalities. Communication. I see communication, expertise, exchange of experience, or like knowledge sharing. Great, thank you. I think more or less we are starting to see the overall picture as to what the network should be like. Perhaps we're moving in the right direction. Also, I would like to receive some feedback from you as part of a dialogue. Basically, your feedback, your opinion as to how you see this network functioning. For example, shall we use a model that is available already, some other task groups, task forces, or perhaps if you have experience in taking part in such groups, let us know. So for now, I will stop sharing. Jan, if you could share the screen, please leave it.
I'm not sharing.
I will start sharing, and then you will have a opportunity to share this particular slide. Okay? Коллеги, пожалуйста, будем рады вашему мнению.
Colleagues, we would like to hear from you. Yes, Anastasia. Hello, Mikhail. I would like to share our experience of our interaction with ESCAP. Earlier, I was invited as part of my work on poverty, and I listened to a number of lectures that was very interesting. And it was interesting and educational to find out what is being done in other countries and the challenges faced by them. Everything was organized in English. However, it was quite easy to understand. Perhaps we couldn't understand everything because there was no interpretation, but also I would like to add that I am a member of DI-COP that was mentioned here earlier, the Data Integration Community of Practice, and I try to log into the events. Sometimes due to the time difference, I cannot take part in all events, or sometimes it's just not possible in these video conferences. However, when it comes to poverty mapping, I will use the material that I received just yesterday. I logged in yesterday to DI-COP and I received some very useful material that can be used in our country as well. Thank you. Thank you, Anastasia. The biggest problem, I think, for you is the language barrier when it comes to take part in various expert groups. If I understood you correctly, when it comes to your vision of the future expert network, one of the benefits that you identified that it will be a Russian language network. Did I understand you correctly? Yes, including that. If we talk about expanding, having more participants, then of course having it in Russian would be very useful. Yeah, I did take part in some events in English, and I even took part in some group activities, but the main difficulty is basically keeping up with the material that is given due to my workload, and this is the biggest difficulty perhaps, just to keep up. In principle, as an additional practice for my English, from time to time, I do attend some events in English. And this experience is also very valuable. And of course, for my statistic office. It's very useful, but sometimes I physically cannot keep up. I cannot take part in all video conferences, but whenever possible, I would log in and with great pleasure participated in those events. And I will reiterate that only yesterday I found some useful materials that I can use in my work. Thank you, Anastasia. When it comes to the functioning of the network, what do you think? Would it be useful to use the work group model as an example and try to structure it similarly in a similar way? Maybe some other colleagues would like to say something. Well, in principle, yes. Yeah, I do think that would be useful. And perhaps we can also plan it in advance because it's an international association. Therefore, then we should choose time that would be probably more easier for participants to attend, because sometimes when I participate in international events, the timing is really not convenient. I'm sometimes basically during the time when I commute to work. But of course, as a model, as a sample, that would be really useful. Maybe we can also add a Telegram channel that could be useful, also a useful channel. And now we can see a very interesting usage where you can see notifications in advance, weekly or monthly. There are some networking events, and I do like the fact that they do have this module that was mentioned here earlier, that there is a module that you can log into, and whenever you need it and when you have time, you can just listen to materials, so read some materials that is already placed there. Thank you for the very valuable feedback, Anastasia. We do have, I can see Gulnur, yes, we have one more participant, Lena from Rostad. Mikhail, hello, can you hear me well? Yes, we can hear you. Great. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. I would like to share our experience. I took part for some time in a working group of UNECE on development of a guideline of using the magnitude data for the population migration statistics. And the idea of using a working group model, I think it's a great idea. The only thing is that probably we need to discuss it later, because we will need to cover a very vast area of using alternative data sources that maybe during the first year we should break into smaller subgroups. For example, for various sectors of statistics, so that we could focus more on certain issues within the subgroups. We may have coordinators appointed, like temporary coordinators, and also in order to discuss or present the outcomes of these subgroups, we can meet as part of the entire group. But of course, there are some subjects that are all-encompassing and should be discussed by the entire group together. Thank you. Thank you for a very detailed comment, Elena. We will take due note of that. Gulnur, the floor is yours. Good afternoon once again. Well, one of our colleagues has suggested a Telegram group. It's a great idea, I think. If any of us have issues, questions, or ideas, we may share them in real time. It's very convenient, and we will get to know each other better. And the subgroups idea, I also agree with it. For instance, I work on tourism, ICT, innovations, and communications, telecom. And I'm more interested in research or work in this area. And for instance, if we now had a presentation on mapping of land coverage, for me personally, in order to learn something new, all the recent developments, yes, it is interesting, but when it comes to my area of expertise, I frankly do not need it in my work. But also I have a question. For instance, we have connected, let's say, to the network, and I work on certain areas only. For example, if we talk about land coverage, so if people who work on this particular area, can they join our group? I think the answer is yes. I'm sorry to interrupt you. No, it's great. It's okay. That would be very useful because the more participants we have, the more opinions we have, new proposals, that would be very much welcomed. Great. This is what I wanted to clarify, because perhaps after we have the groups formed and we have some discussions going, perhaps our colleagues, some colleagues who learned about these groups from us, perhaps they could join so that they could also participate in this work group, because we are all busy at work, especially in spring, and then we have our annual reports and so on. So at this time, we are more or less free. We can find some time and take part or attend some events. That's all I had to say. Thank you. Thank you, Gulnar. Well, considering that here we have young experts, then in spring we will be busy not only with reports, you know what I mean. Well, thank you for a very valuable input. And what do you think, which platform would be the best for this network? If you have any proposals, perhaps you might share with us. Maybe, for example, you could all prefer to use a ESCAP platform, or perhaps you have some alternative solution. Colleagues, what do you think? Well, to be honest, Mikhail, it's the first time that I take part in this working group, on such working groups. So as of now, I find it convenient to take part here on a ESCAP platform, but maybe other colleagues who have more experience, maybe they can suggest something else. Thank you. Thank you, Gulnur. Liana, the floor is yours. Thank you, Mikhail. Yes, I think that it would be most practical to work on ESCAP platform. Thank you. Thank you. Rima, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. As for a platform, well, I think you as organizers, then you should provide a platform. This should be a ESCAP platform, similarly to the SDG area, thematic area. Remember, we had a main group that coordinated the main areas, and also we had some subgroups for more specific subjects. As far as I understand, there are lots of experts, but they all work in different statistical areas, and all of them have their own goals, interests, tasks. Some of them may not be interested, or some of them may not have found today's topic very interested. Some of them, conversely, may be really interested. So indeed, more specific areas, more narrow areas should also be covered. And I think that within the Eurasian Economic Community, we do have a platform, similar platform where we have work groups, and the head of states, they approve general program of development, and then within working groups we do more specifically work on them. But perhaps we should also register from every country who will represent each country, and this person may also invite other experts into the group. That's all I had to say. Thank you. That would be very useful if those who participate in the group, some our new participants, could also or had to register somehow so that we would have their contacts and other details, so that people were really experts, to make sure we know who they are. They're not hiding behind nicknames or so on. We do have a comment from Kyrgyzstan. The floor is yours.
Colleagues, I believe our colleague from Kyrgyzstan asked for the floor. Please, the floor is yours. All right. If Kyrgyzstan is not taking the floor at the moment, then Anastasia from Росстат. Thank you very much. I found the presentations very interesting. And this is really how trainings happen, and then we can move on to data integration. So the experience for how to integrate and present data. So perhaps we could use the platform that already exists within ESCAP and train experts, increase their competencies, and allow them to share their experiences. And then in the future, these could be used in different statistical industries or statistical areas. Kyrgyzstan, you have the floor. Yes, I apologize. You couldn't hear me. I was speaking before. I represent the Department for Human Resources. I'm not really a statistician, but nonetheless, I'm very interested in the topic of creating communities of practice. So I think it would be quite interesting to look at it cross-sectorally. In Kyrgyzstan, we plan to analyze functionally and restructure the whole system. So I'm interested in learning about what industries are perhaps obsolete, what needs to be brought in. And I do feel that we lack information. In every country, statistics is a monopoly of state authorities. So who could I speak with about how to structure it, what industries, what structural departments could be united with others? I can't find that information anywhere. But now here, using this platform, I hope I'd be able to gain that experience looking at the examples of other countries. For example, how to improve the functioning of specific industries. So I would love to be able to participate in the work of committees of practice for various industries, to be able to ask questions, to look at the experience of other countries. Let's say in our country, we may have 20 different areas, and other country will have 10 areas, and then they've grouped the areas in a certain way. And also believe that we could use the ESCAP platform. I'm actually very happy that this opportunity is being offered to us. Personally, I'm very great and very happy that this is the direction that we are taking. Thank you very much for this very detailed comment. And I do hope that you'll be quite happy with the results of your participation in the work of this community of experts, of this network. So follow-up question. What should be available on that platform? Should there be an area where we'll be able to keep all of the links and the documents and the information materials? What are your thoughts about the structure of the platform itself? Colleagues, please speak up. So you're saying that on the platform, we could have an additional module, right? So to be able to share information, right? Well, how do you see it? Should it just be a folder with links, or should it look differently?
Наверное, стоит создать такое вот, наверное, хранилище,
So it would be good to have a folder or a depository of some kind. Certainly. I think all countries are now running experimental studies or implementing pilots. And so it would be great for countries to be able to share the information and upload their materials, or to share their plans. For example, we plan to have a working meeting, and then we'll be able to report on how it took place, what needed to be done, what still remains to be done, etc. Okay, thank you very much. From Gulnura, Turkmenistan is now asking for the floor. Good afternoon. Greetings. Thank you very much for this opportunity to take the floor and to communicate with other experts. We are fully in support of using the ESCAP platform, because since you're the organizers, it would be great to be able to use the platform provided by you. In terms of the content of the network, I certainly would like to have access to various sources of information. And those countries that have already moved in the direction of developing their capacity and would be able to share the information in Russian after training sessions and after workshops, etc. And let me just add to what my colleague said earlier. Participants from other countries suggested to create thematic areas. So it would be great to have a way of sharing reports about the meetings of these various thematic areas, so as to have a general view, a general understanding of what happens in the various subsections or thematic areas of the network. Yes, thank you very much. This is exactly how working groups usually work. After an event takes place, a report is compiled. The report will include information about everything that was discussed and about the actions planned or to take place prior to the next meeting. Alina, you have the floor. Let me just add it to what our colleagues from Turkmenistan just mentioned. not just the transcripts or reports, but also perhaps recordings of the session of the meetings themselves. Let's say if a participant wasn't able to participate in a meeting, that participant would be able to then listen to the recording later on. So so recordings of all webinars, of all meetings and teleconferences. Certainly, I think that should be possible. That should be doable, says Mikhail. Kyrgyzstan, you have the floor. Good afternoon, colleagues. I really like this and this last comment. I think it is really necessary to record the meetings. We moved to online learning, to online webinars over the past year and a half. There are many webinars taking place. Sometimes I cannot make it to a webinar that is of great interest to me. So I would agree with my colleagues that we really need to have recordings of all meetings, of all webinars, to make them available to everyone. Thank you very much. Now let us move on to the next point on our agenda. About the needs that this expert network can respond to, can meet. I'd like you to vote in Metimeet, and you can say which answer you think is the best one, which one is the one most in line with your thinking. And certainly, you're more than welcome to comment. We couldn't possibly provide all possible answers, so please do comment as well. So I'll give you a minute. Most of you for now say improving methods on the use of new data sources. So the experience specifically in that area. Number 2 at the moment is more effective cooperation and improving managerial potential. If you the capacity building, managerial capacity building. If you'd like to add something, then please raise your hand and we can discuss it further. Yep, we are staying with the same hierarchy, enhanced use of new data sources and approaches, and capacity building, managerial capacity building. Yes. Kyrgyzstan. When we received information about this forum, we discussed with our colleagues as to what kind of outcome would like to expect, and specifically in the use of new data sources. And most people said that in order to use new data sources, we really need to build capacity in that area. Thank you very much. Well, what would you say? What would be other advantages? Perhaps it would simplify the work of young statisticians who are employed by various agencies. Absolutely, yes. I think that even today we are listening to our colleagues and we're learning from each other. And this too is a learning opportunity as a way for us to present our point of view, to speak in public. This is a very valuable experience as well. So as part of participating in this forum, we'll be able to gain experience in that area as well, and in how to use new data sources and how to present our experience. So at the end of the day, what we expect is really capacity building and in building up the competencies of our young experts on the use of new data sources. Thank you. So in the beginning, perhaps Rastad could coordinate the work of the network so that we could use the existing arrangement. But as you know, working groups and the community run meetings on a regular basis. And since you would like to also raise your increase your capacity in the use of new data sources, then perhaps such events usually involve presentation, a participation of a moderator, and these presentations are followed by a discussion. So do you think it would be helpful to rotate within the network and to be able to participate in the work of the network from the inside? And so perhaps that would be helpful as well in terms of capacity building and would keep you more engaged. Would you see that could be helpful? Colleagues, please do take the floor. Turkmenistan. I would say it would take about 2 hours per week to participate in the work of the network in 2021, 2022. I wonder if all young experts would find enough time to participate every time. Maybe we should not have meetings quite so often. And perhaps not everyone should present. We're just embarking on this path. We really could only be participating on the receiving end. We don't have anything to present at the moment. We're just making the first steps. So perhaps those who do have some experience in the area would present. Yes, I understand. 2 hours per week is not necessarily meeting time. The 2 hours will include looking through the materials and engagement with other colleagues through Telegram, for example, etc. So it's 2 hours combined time. But your comment ushers in my next question, which is how often do you think we should organize meetings? Would it be once a month? So short meetings that will take 1 hour, perhaps 90 minutes. Yes, that would be good.
Хорошо. Да, Лена, пожалуйста.
All right, Lena, you have the floor.
Да, действительно, наверное, по крайней мере, на первых порах не стоит организовывать такие встречи чаще, чем...
Perhaps in the beginning, we should really aim at monthly meetings. And if there is a need and a desire, then we could increase the frequency of the meetings, but we should perhaps start with once a month. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you share my opinion about the frequency of the desired frequency of the meetings. So let me move on to the next slide. And let's brainstorm your contributions to the work of the network. What would be your input? What could be your input? And please speak in a personal capacity. I'd like to know your opinion about that.
Коллеги, там есть сейчас как раз возможность подумать над тем, что бы вы могли.
This is an opportunity for you to really think about what your contribution could be to the network, and you can, in real time, share your thoughts with us. If it's too long to type in, I understand, but it would be really grateful if experts from various countries could share their views on that. You can see that in biggest fund is on the screen is the number of times participants mentioned sharing their experiences, and then developing methodologies, innovations, engaging with our colleagues. Excellent. We are keeping it open. We may go back to the slide. Perhaps you'd like to take the floor and comment and speak on that question. If not, then would you say it would be helpful to invite graduating year students, those who will soon obtain their diplomas, and invite them to participate in the network? Alina, yes, you have the floor. Once again, thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. I think it would be very helpful to invite graduating students during the last year, perhaps organize conferences where they could be invited, and through the university disseminate information about a conference that we organize, such as, for example, on the use of new data sources and statistics. And students could either come as participants or perhaps even share their own ideas about further developments in our industries. I think they could provide new ideas for our work and for the work of our network, usher in new developments. I think that would also motivate students to come and work in national statistical bureaus. Yes, I think it would be quite helpful to organize conferences and then invite students to take part. Anastasia. I once spoke with an expert who works with big data, and she shared with me that a marathon could be organized with participation of teams of experts, for example, where they have to solve a problem, and then students could be invited to participate in events of that kind, and then that would allow them to come up with creative ideas with something completely new and unexpected. And this kinds of marathons could become quite popular. Thank you very much for your feedback. Lots of interesting ideas, lots of suggestions. So at the end of the day, I'm wondering to what extent we're able to motivate you to participate in the work of, to participate in the network. So one last vote. Please ask 1 out of 3 possible answers. And certainly understand that this is not a serious question. But nonetheless, I'm glad to see that there's so many positive responses, that so many of you are interested in furthering your work and participating in the network. On a more serious note, I'd like to say that I'm very grateful for the ideas and the suggestions that you voiced here. I think the contours of the network are becoming clear, that we are aiming for the long term, that it's going to be a cooperation engagement of various participants united by similar goals, that it will help to develop capacity building, it will improve communication. And so building horizontal links between various agencies would allow us to create a productive community that would be able to improve the capacity into managerial capacity and technical capacity. I believe that every statistical agency present here will look at the experts participating in the network as their prime source of expertise. And for that, we need to achieve these goals. We need to have common values and common tools. We just have 5 minutes left. So perhaps it is time for us to wrap up the first day of our meeting. So let me just say a few words about tomorrow's session, which will start at the same time tomorrow. So there will be 2 country presentations, one on personnel management, openness to innovation, career development prospects, etc. And the second presentation will be on the use of new data sources and methodology of the use of new data sources and use of geospatial information for official statistics and big data. We would also welcome your opinions on the development of training materials on communication, on negotiations, and on advocacy in official statistics. So what are your needs in that area? I'm hoping that we'll be able to have a fruitful discussion of all these topics. And at the end, we will vote and decide which of the guidelines, which of the manuals and methodologies are most needed, which ones to translate into Russian, so that you could use them in your work. So please look at at the concept note before tomorrow's meeting, and I'd like to thank all participants in the work of the forum. I'd like to thank all the speakers for the excellent presentations. I would like to thank the interpreters and all technical personnel of ESCAP who have provided support in during the first day of the meeting. So good morning, good day, or perhaps good evening, depending on where you are. And tomorrow we will meet again at the same time here in Zoom. Thank you very much. Well, allow me also to just say a few words at the end to thank you for organizing this meeting, to thank everyone who participated as well. I think tomorrow's meeting is going to be even more constructive and more productive than today. And really look forward to tomorrow's presentations, which will allow us to gain insight into what's happening in the various countries. Yes, thank you. Jan, you have the floor.